Welcome to SMOPPY'S world. I am your beautiful, ever smiling host, Lady Ola. SMOPPY'S world is where we get to talk about real life issues, faith, families, women, talk about healing, becoming and evolving. I share precious lessons from my own world of experiences, and I'm sure you will definitely have one or two to take back home and put to use. If you've been following me thus far, I thank you for sticking around. And if you're new here, you are highly welcome to my world. In the last episode, we talked about the symptoms and the root causes of abuse in relationships. If you've missed the episode, please go and listen to it on any of my social media platforms. Today, I want to focus on how to get out of an abusive relationship. If you are in an abusive relationship, why don't you just leave? When I met my husband and I started sharing with him the level of abuse that I went through, his question to me was, honey, why did you have to stay in a relationship like that for 10 years? Why didn't you leave? Why don't you just leave? It's a question many people ask when they learn that someone is suffering from battery and abuse. But if you are in an abusive relationship, you know that is not that simple. For people outside the abusive relationship, it makes no sense. But to those who are in it, most of the time don't even know how to end it. And sometimes we feel a sense of bonding with our partner through trauma. Your partner won't let you leave by controlling or threatening. Sometimes we have safety concerns. We have nowhere to go. In my case, we share bank accounts. And even if I want to open another account, I need documentation. And at that time, my residency was not yet to be given. Sometimes you lack support. You have feelings of fear. You are ashamed or embarrassment. You want to keep your family together for the sake of your children. The most of it is you worry about how your partner may feel or react if he finds out that you are planning to leave him or her. Ending a significant relationship is never easy. It's even harder when you've been isolated from your family and friends, psychologically beaten down, financially controlled, and physically threatened. I remember in my old relationship with my ex, I was not allowed to visit my family without him being there. One of my brother, who was 7 years older than me, came to see me one time. And as he was leaving, as a well-trained Nigerian girl, I escorted him to the car. And we just got talking for about 5 minutes before he drove off. As I entered into the house, he was already fuming. And the next thing he did, he grabbed my neck and pushed me to the wall and told me if I ever do that again, I would not believe what he would do to me. After a few minutes, he came back kneeling down and apologizing and kissing me and went out like nothing ever happened. At this time, I was not married to him yet. As a matter of fact, it was months into our relationship. Let me quickly talk to someone who is just getting into a relationship, or you are in a relationship that has not gone far. You need to be asking some deep questions about his background, his past relationships, his goal, his purpose in life. Get to know him deeply enough before you let him climb on your bed. The problem most of us have is we leave what we're supposed to know first and do what we're supposed to do last first. Once you have sex with a man, You are emotionally attached. So if you open your gate to him when you're supposed to be investigating him first, then it becomes difficult to walk away from the person, especially if he's dealing with his own demon of insecurity and mental issues that you knew nothing about. I wish someone sat me down and teach me better, rather than just telling me only about if you sleep with a man, you get pregnant. There's a whole lot more risk that you're taking than even getting pregnant. Parents, tell your young women what is at stake. Fathers, talk to your young men to not knock on a gate they are not sure the danger that is in it. As Christians, pastors and leaders, let's teach more about this. And if you belong to any other faith, teach your followers the importance of keeping yourself pure till you know and can trust the person you're dating. No one told me how emotional attached I could be with a man, that even when he's abusing me, part of me still wants to love him. Earlier on, I was talking about how difficult it could be to get out of an abusive relationship when you have separated from friends and family by your abuser. If you're trying to decide whether to stay or leave, you may be feeling confused. You may be feeling uncertain or frightened and torn. Maybe you're still hoping that your situation will change, or you're afraid of how your partner will react if they discover that you're trying to leave. I can relate to that feeling, my friend. One moment, you desperately want to get away. And the next, you want to hang on to the relationship. It's like salt and vinegar. I love salt and vinegar licorice. Maybe you even blame yourself for the abuse, or you feel weak and embarrassed because you've stuck around in spite of it. Don't be trapped by confusion. Don't be trapped by guilt or self-blame. The only thing that matters is your safety, darling. If you have been abused, remember, you're not to blame for being battered or mistreated. You are not the cause of your partner's abusive behavior. You deserve to be treated with respect. You deserve a safe and happy life. Your children deserve a safe and happy life. What I want you to understand is your children are dying on the inside. Seeing your partner abusing you and it's affecting them. Believe it, because it's coming from someone like me who's been there. It affects mental states of a child living in abusive relationships. One of my favorite teachers is Joyce Myers, who shared how she was messed up mentally by growing up in an abusive relationship. So, sweetheart, don't stay in abusive relationships for the sake of the children. Actually, the main reason you should leave is because of the children. I grew up in Africa where they believe the opposite. They say all abuse you got is because of your children. They stayed there until they died. Or they have lifetime illness that they will have to deal with for the rest of their lives. Sweetheart, there are people waiting to help you. Please get out while you can. Get yourself to a safe place. Even if you still want to give the relationship a try, do it from afar. Get to know him from afar and see the changes in him, even though they hardly change unless God intervenes. Before I tell you the solution, let me share with you signs that your abuser is not changing. They minimize the abuse or deny how serious it really was. They continue to blame you for their behavior. They claim you are the one who is abusive. They will tell you that you owe them another chance as if your emotions doesn't matter. They say that they can't change unless you stay with them and support them. At some point with my ex, this particular one became a music that he plays in my head even when he was not around. They try to get sympathy from you, your children or your family and friends. They expect something from you in exchange for getting help, as if they are doing you a favor for taking care of their mental illness. They pressure you to make decisions about the relationship. If I'm right with all of this that I've said, my dear, your partner is no way near having any plans to change. So let's go get you a better life. Solution 1, safety plans. It's very, very important that you protect yourself and your children if you have one. There's a big difference between being severely injured or killed and escaping with your life. You need to know your abuser's red flags. You need to stay alert for signs and clues that your abuser is getting upset and may explode in anger or violence. You need to come up with several believable reasons you can use to leave the house. I'm talking about both during the day and at night. If you ever sense trouble brewing, you need to identify safe areas of the house. Know where to go if your abuser attacks or an argument starts. Avoid small enclosed spaces without exits. I'm talking about don't go and hide in your bathrooms or in your bedrooms or kitchen, because there are so many weapons in the kitchen. When my ex is angry, I always make my way straight to the kitchen and pack every knives and rolling pins and hide them in my secret corner in the house. Because when he's angry, he will use anything to beat you. And who knows, the devil may enter him and use the knives to stab you before his eyes become open. And you're already lying in the pool of blood. If possible, head for a room with a phone and an outside door or window. Have a code word. Establish a word or a phrase or signal you can use to let your children, your friends, or your neighbors or co-workers know that you are in danger and they should call the police. Well, this may be difficult for those that live in a country that their police systems are malfunctioning. But he helped me from getting killed from this guy. Thank God. Solution 2, you need to build a safety network. I'll say that again. You need to build a safety network. To avoid going back to an abusive relationship, surround yourself with a support network of friends and loved ones who are in the loop on why you left. You need to reconnect with your loved ones. You need to reconnect with your friends and people in your community, especially if you have been isolated from them during your relationship. You need to remember why you left. It's perfectly normal to miss an abusive partner, but that doesn't mean that it is right to be with them. Rather, it means that there was some good in the relationship, but the bad outweighs the good because everyone deserves a healthy, safe, empowering, and joyful relationship. This may sound crazy, but it worked for me. Writing yourself a note about why you chose to leave the relationship and why you feel it's important to not go back. Whenever you start to miss them, look back at it as a friendly reminder of why the relationship is unhealthy. And reconnection isn't the best or safest idea. 2 years after I left my ex, I met my husband now. And then he was still begging me to have him back. And there was a night the devil said to me, it's changed now. It's been 2 years. The devil you know is better than the one you don't know. As I struggled with that thought, I went back to my note to remind myself why I left. And I thank God that I did. I would have missed the greatest man on earth that God reserved for me today. You need to put yourself first. It's very common to think about how your partner might feel if when you leave, especially if they're emotionally abusive. But your feelings matter, darling. Your feelings matter too. And it's important to prioritize your own well-being. Remember that living an unhealthy relationship is not quitting, but rather it's a positive decision of choosing a healthier life. Celebrate you for making a hard but right choice for yourself. It's important that you focus on your own growth and processing. Start practicing self-care. Give yourself kindness and time to heal. You need to trust your gut. You must always, always, always trust your gut. Because if something feels off about your relationship or dating situation, it probably is. After all, you know your situation better than anyone else. Listen to your intuition and trust your own judgment on the safest time to leave. You have the strength to leave, but only when you're ready. Work towards becoming independent, especially if you used to rely on your partner for shelter and finances. Finding a safe space to live and a job can jumpstart your path to independence. Establish financial independence, including your own source of income, your savings and credit. This may improve your chances of staying away from your partner. I'm not going to sit down here and lie to you that it's going to be easy, but I can tell you that you can do it. I brushed myself up, bought a brand new car after 6 months I left him. I got me a good job and a good house full of peace and joy. Let me tell you where to find support. There are several resources that are available to support you when living an abusive relationship. In Western world, you have access to hotlines that deals with domestic violence. And even in Africa now, they have helplines, but I'm not sure how effective they are. Now let me talk to you about how to heal. Because you've gone through all this craziness and you have to heal. First of all, you need to find a therapist. Keep in mind that individual therapy can help you strengthen your relationships. It can help you to set boundaries and better understand the dynamics of domestic violence. A mental health professional can also teach you coping strategies and tips for building healthier relationships. It's important to educate yourself about the common patterns of abuse and the types of abusive behaviors you may have experienced in order to break the cycle of violence. They say knowledge is power. That's if you get the right one. Get a professional therapist. If you're a Christian, get church counselors. And if you're one of those that doesn't like your church to know your business, you can call other counselors that don't know you or they are from your church. There are many online counselors. Support groups and organizations. They are also there. They're also good for you to start your healing. Getting involved in support groups, joining organizations, and connecting with other survivors can offer you comfort and support during this time and help you heal. Many people will find and become members of a support group because of an unhealthy or abusive relationship have a sense of relief in seeing their situations depicted in content, strength, and even start to help others who are in this dark place before. Legal advocates can also provide education and support in terms of restraining orders and possibly provide legal referrals. I had so many injunctions against my ex because he won't stop chasing me around. He would chase me at the mall, at the children's school. He was ugly, he was brutal. Listen, this one is important. Looking ahead. It's possible for you to leave an abusive relationship for good. Yeah, I can tell you that. It's possible. Don't let anybody deceive you. Every situation requires different planning. But creating a safety plan, establishing a support network, prioritizing self-care, and becoming independent can help. Listen, no one ever deserves to experience abuse. And there are many resources available that can help you heal. Joining support groups, getting involved in organizations, leaning on your loved ones, and starting therapy are great places to start. You are never alone. And your relationship is not a reflection of who you are, your strength or your worth. Sweetheart, remember that you're worthy and deserving of a love that feels good. You can build a happier and a healthier relationship if and when you're ready. In the meantime, please focus on your safety and well-being. And if you believe in God, trust Him for His strength to carry you through. Well, this is your host, Lady Ola, saying, stay safe, stay happy, and stay blessed until I see you next time. Take care of yourself and each other. Don't forget to leave me your comments. I would love to hear from you.